Hello everyone, my name is Muan and I'm here with my partner Kelly Chen. So we decided to do a study on the Andean bear, and here are two pictures that we took while we were observing this bear. So before we delve into the study, we would like to give some background information about our animal. It's most commonly referred to as the Andean bear. However, they are also known as the spectacle bear due to having rings of light fur around their eyes, which makes it look like they are wearing glasses or spectacles. However, their scientific name is known as the Tremarctos ornatus. They can be found around the Andes and outlying mountains ranging from Venezuela to Bolivia. Many live between 6,000 to 8,800 feet above sea level. Their habitat varies from rainforests, cloud forests, and mossy, stunted elfin forests to thorny dry forests. They aren't really a social species, so aside from situations such as breeding season or socialization between a mother and her cub, they typically live and forage alone. And according to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, also known as the ICUN, the Andean bears are listed as vulnerable species. This means that they are facing a high risk of extinction in the wild, and there are more than 10,000 left in this world. Two of the biggest variables causing their vulnerability are due to hunting and habitat loss, as their habitats are being converted into agricultural lands and human settlements.
So for our study, we are interested in observing whether captivity of Andean bear caused them to be vulnerable to develop stereotypical behavior, which is just another way to say repetitive behavior. Therefore, our research question is, which type of behavior, exploratory or non-exploratory, do Andean bear predominantly engage in? For context, we're referring the stereotypical behavior here as non-exploratory. In this study, we're interested in the time duration they spend on each behavior. We would also like to know which specific behavior within either exploratory or non-exploratory group they engage in the most. Previous research has shown that Andean bear are very curious animals, and some have found it difficult to keep them entertained. Therefore, it is recommended to have objects such as tires or balls in their environment to stimulate the bear to explore their environment. When it comes to confined bear, they are deprived of natural stimuli such as broad roaming domain, active feeding, and a rich habitat, which increases the likelihood of stereotypical behavior. Tan and his group did a study on stereotypical behavior in captive bear, and they found locomotion being the most frequent activity observed in an indoor bear, following by resting, which support our initial observation where we see pacing happening more than other types of behavior. In addition, there were no sign of any objects in the environment at the zoo we were at, implying that there may be a higher chance that the bear may become vulnerable to non-exploratory activity due to lack of resources to promote interaction between the bear and their environment compared to when they are in the wild. Therefore, we hypothesize that Andean bear predominantly engage in non-exploratory behavior, with pacing being the most occurred one among the behavior of interest, which we will go more into on the next slide.
So in this slide, we will discuss the materials as well as the methods. As we mentioned previously, we studied an Andean bear, specifically at the Queen Zoo for a duration of 20 minutes. The 20 minutes were divided into 4 segments, each about 5 minutes long. We observed various behaviors that we then divided into whether or not they were non-exploratory. The non-exploratory behaviors include pacing, eating/chewing, sitting, rubbing, also known as scent marking, head turning, which we tend to refer to as neck turning throughout our slides, and laying. The exploratory behaviors include scanning and sniffing. In some situations, the exploratory behaviors can be considered as non-exploratory and vice versa. However, in our case, we deem the non-exploratory behaviors to be such and the exploratory behaviors to be just exploratory. We created an ethogram based on our observations. There are 4 columns which include 9 behaviors of the bear, their corresponding codes, whether they are a state or event type of behavior, as well as their operational definition. Some of these definitions were created by us, while others were inspired by peer-reviewed articles. For example, one of the behaviors was not visible, and we defined it as being unable to view the animal, or the animal going into an area which is unable to be seen. Another example is the behavior of sniffing, which can be defined as having the animal's nose directed to an object of interest, or putting their nose near something such as the ground and sniffing.
Before we go into our data, we would like to show some small clips we took at the zoo. The first clip that I'm going to show you guys are the head turning behavior. And if this thing starts to lag, I will post the video in the comment section. second mini clip I'm gonna show is the rubbing behavior. Entire video we used for our data was recorded on April 18th at around 3:51 p.m. at the Queen Zoo. Okay, so now we're gonna go into our data. My group did a continuous sampling to record down our data. To perform continuous sampling, we had to record down the start time and the end time of the behavior. And we also decided to add additional section just to take down additional note we saw from the bear. While observing the Andean bear, something interesting we noticed during our observation for the head turning is that Andean bear always do three circular motion with their head the majority of the time. And they also displayed that behavior when they are near that mini den area, which was shown in the previous video. In addition, when we speed up the video, we notice that the bear tend to walk in a direction that almost resemble a number 8 figure. That pattern is actually really hard to notice if you're just playing the video at a regular speed. So looking at the table on the bottom of the slides, this is a table created using Google Sheet to summarize our data points. We had a lot of data points. We have approximately 78 of them. The first row shows the total count for the time the bear display a behavior. The second row shows the total time measured in second the bear displayed the behavior. And the last row shows the percentage which we got by dividing total time for one specific behavior by the total time of the video, which is about 1,287 seconds. Our video did end up going a little over 20 minutes, which is why we're not dividing it out by 1,200 seconds instead. As you see on the table, the total count does not really reflect the duration time the bear spent displaying the behavior. In other words, having higher count does not mean the bear will have higher duration for that behavior. For example, there was 9 count for sniffing, and the duration time for it was a total of 192 seconds. While for head turning, it had 17 count, but have a duration time shorter than sniffing, adding up to 84 seconds. This is due to the factors such as whether they are state or event, and in this case, though head turning have more count, but because it is an event, it only happened for a shorter period of time. While for sniffing, though it has less count, but because it is a state, it occurred for a longer period of time. So over here, we're looking at the data more visually using a bar graph. Um, the bar graph here is based off duration of time and not the number of count for the behaviors. So we can see that the most frequent behavior here is pacing, which adds up to almost 50% of the behavior, about 50% of the behavior being displayed if you were to round it up. And the least frequent behavior is sitting, and if we were to round that up, it's about 1%. And because part of our question are interested in exploring whether the bear display more non-exploratory behavior or more exploratory behavior, I did end up adding up all the percentage for non-exploratory and exploratory. So for non-exploratory behavior, the percentage added up to about 79.17%, and the exploratory behavior added up to about 20.83%. To conclude this study, our hypothesis was supported, which is Andean bear engaged in non-exploratory behavior more than exploratory, with pacing occurring a total duration of approximately 10 minutes in the period of observation. This also implies that this Andean bear in this zoo may face vulnerability to stereotypical behavior, as non-exploratory behavior is being displayed the most frequent. As previously stated, this could be due to confinement situation lacking the resources needed to develop more exploratory interaction between the bear and their surrounding, as the only thing there was in the Andean bear habitat at the zoo was the big tree branch, which was shown in the video before. To end off this presentation, we're going to talk about a limitation that we've come up with, a limitation that may have influenced the behavior we may observe is the time of day we decided to go record the video. We were informed by Professor Hage that the animal were more active during the morning, and we did end up recording this video toward late afternoon. And that is also around a time when they might not be as active, therefore, some of the behavior may be displayed less. And this is our citation page. Thank you.
Thank you.